Chapter 5. Until Sanity returns. After returning home, Agnes immediately explained the situation to her father, Benois, finishing up with a huge sigh. So it seems to me that a royal plot is afoot.
What do you mean?
Philip's technically a royal. They're trying to make it look like there's no hard feelings between us to save Marquis Barthay's reputation, since his daughter will end up with Philip now. Benoit placed his teacup down on the table as he raised an eyebrow. His daughter seemed so serious about all of this.
It's a bit late for that. You already had that big bust-up with Philip when he publicly broke things off with you. There's nothing left to hide. Besides, how does Prince Claude factor into all this?
He probably drew the short straw when they were looking for someone to use as a pawn in their favor. The crown prince is already engaged, so he was no good. And Claude's the handsome one after all. All the girls love him. No doubt they thought he'd be the biggest draw for someone like me. Like I would obviously fall for him.
Oh my, Agnes! Have you fallen for Prince Claude?
Please, no. If anything, it's pity I feel for him. But he does seem to appreciate mushrooms, at least.
Oh dear. So I'm assuming you sprouted a few on the prince?
I tried not to. But yes, I ended up sprouting quite a few on him. Even worse, he proposed to them. Agnes felt like she'd done a pretty good job suppressing the mushroom effect, all things considered. What with the horse carriage and ballroom dancing and everything.
Benoit nodded solemnly.
He knew all about the situation, of course. But just then, as if slightly delayed, Agnes's last comment finally seemed to register.
Proposed?
To the mushrooms, not to me.
I'm not following, Agnes.
Agnes wasn't really clear on the situation either. But Benoit hadn't even been there, so no doubt she wasn't making a lick of sense. It seems that the prince is some sort of mushroom fetishist. He said all this stuff about falling in love with the mushrooms I sprout, and now he wants to get engaged.
So what did you say?
Well, eventually, he agreed to let me think it over while he, attempts to win me over. A range of emotions crossed Benoit's face. Then finally, his shoulders slumped.
If it's a direct order from the king himself, then there's no way you can turn it down and return to calm in her life. You're going to have to play along, at least for now. Besides, maybe this'll be good for you. It'll take care of the bad reputation you've been saddled with.
All it's going to do is take me from the king's nephew's jilted ex-fiancé to the weird hypergamous mushroom girl who's now sunk her claws into his cousin, the fourth-born prince. Yes, Claude and Philip were cousins, both royals, and of the two of them, Claude had much higher status and prospects. It would look like Agnes was trying to climb the bachelor ladder, using Philip as a mere rung on her way to the top. Agnes didn't really care about her own reputation at this point. It was protecting the good Lafort name and her younger brother Kevin's future that concerned her.
Everyone knows Claude isn't the type to let himself get tricked into marriage by any woman. Don't worry.
Despite his popularity with the ladies, it was true that Claude had a spotless record when it came to relationships. In fact, he'd been involved in exactly 0 love scandals. So much so that people had often wondered aloud if Claude was actually something of a woman hater. So, if he and Agnes did get involved, no one could blame her for ensnaring him. It'd be obvious that he himself was fully on board. After all, Claude had always had his pick of the prettiest, most eligible young ladies. They swarmed around him like moths to a flame. But Claude had never gotten involved with any of them. No doubt because he much prefers mushrooms to women, Agnes thought. If only one of these eligible young ladies had known about Claude's fetish and plied him with mushrooms, perhaps she would have been successful.
At any rate, it looks like royal men are drawn to you, Agnes. Idiosyncratic young men though they may be. At least you won't have to return to commoner society now. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Idiosyncratic young men? More like idiotic young men. Agnes nodded reluctantly. Still, she wasn't happy about this.
Welcome home, sis. How was the ball?
After talking with Benois, Agnes was about to return to her bedroom when Kevin walked in. It's complicated. Agnes couldn't hide her worries from her tone and expression. Kevin quickly sat down on the sofa where Benois had been earlier.
But the prince, he's pretty cool, isn't he?
I guess so. At least appearance-wise. Shame he's a fungal fetish freak inside.
Huh. So you prefer Philip?
No. Philip's just a cheater. You should have heard him again today, pompous jerk. I wanted to smother him in mushrooms. I have no idea how I ever tolerated him so long. Kevin chuckled as Agnes huffed and puffed indignantly.
Well, all you have to do is rub his face in it. You know, show him how close you and Claude are. You always complained about how Philip made you tie your hair back and forced you to wear only plain makeup. Now you can really show off your pretty peach blossom hair and your stunning features for once.
You talk as if I had any beautiful features to show off. Kevin frowned deeply.
It looks like years of having to endure Philip's negging has done a number on your self-esteem. Curse him, feckless fool.
Kevin? Agnes looked quizzically at her younger brother as he came to sit next to her on the sofa and took her hands in his.
I know that your hair color is unusual, and lots of people act weird about it. But I think it's objectively very pretty. And you're pretty too, sis. I just wish Philip could see what he gave up.
Agnes was taken aback by Kevin's impassioned speech. He was being so kind. Kevin, where did you learn to say such sweet things?
It's just what Father always says. He was furious with the way you've been disrespected. He just didn't want you to know he agreed with you. He was worried you really would return to commoner life. Curse that Philip. May he go as bald as a plucked chicken. That's what Father always says.
Goodness, with the many years Father has on Philip, surely it's Father who will go bald first. I'm sorry you've had to worry about all of this too, Kevin.
It's fine. I know you've been quietly enduring a lot of stuff, sis. But Father and I love you. We don't want you to leave us and become a commoner again.
Thank you. I love you both too. Agnes stroked Kevin's hair. He looked a little embarrassed, but let her do it.
In that case, go and be with Claude.
But I can't. What was it you said earlier? Oh yes, show off how close I am with Claude. He's a royal prince. Every woman wants him. If I get too close to him, it could end up being dangerous for me. Besides, there's a complicating factor.
A complicating factor? Oh, was he freaked out by your mushroom thing?
Quite the opposite. He proposed to the mushrooms.
He what?
Agnes could understand Kevin's confusion, but it was all true. Weird, but true. He's a total mushroom fetishist, and apparently he's taken a special liking to my mushrooms.
So, what are you going to do?
Kevin was unable to hide his shock. Clearly, he'd never heard the words mushroom fetishist anywhere before. I'm going to string him along until he chills out and snaps out of it. If I say no, and he uses his influence to force me into marriage straight off the bat, there won't be anything I can do about it. So I'm pretending to think it over. I'm just hoping he regains his sanity in the meantime. Kevin frowned and groaned. Then he thought it over for a few moments.
Even so, if you're seen out with Claude laughing and having fun, that will really get Philip's goat.
Will it? Not that Agnes cared what Philip thought. He'd called me a fake and tossed me aside like garbage.
Yes, for sure. Philip's nothing but a big baby.
No doubt Philip would blow his top over being called a baby by someone younger than him like Kevin. Still, Agnes didn't feel like sticking up for Philip. Why would she? All right then, I'll date the prince a while. Just until he regains his senses. Kevin smiled and nodded, satisfied with her sister's decision. A new bouquet of flowers was delivered to Agnes every morning after the mushroom proposal. He may be a pervert prince, but he still has princely manners. As Agnes admired the flowers, she noticed the attached card.
I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
It read. Oh, wow, even his handwriting is regal. No one would guess that it was the handwriting of a mushroom fetishist.
Excuse me?
Maurice blinked at her. It was Maurice who delivered the flowers, of course. Agnes waved dismissively. It wasn't even clear who Claude was looking forward to seeing again. Was it Agnes herself, or was it her mushrooms? It's the mushrooms, isn't it? Yup, it's definitely the mushrooms. Agnes sighed, taking hold of the large bouquet and accidentally brushing Maurice's hand as she did. A brown, scaly-capped mushroom popped up on his arm. Foliota terrestris, if Agnes wasn't mistaken. And she rarely was. Agnes found it funny how good she'd become at identifying mushroom varieties, even considering how many opportunities she had for practicing such a thing. Her mushroom powers were definitely intensifying. That had to be down to her protective spirits acting up. It really was almost like a mushroom curse. Sorry, you've got a mushroom on you.
That's quite all right. His Highness will be pleased.
Maurice plucked the mushroom off his arm and carefully wrapped it in a handkerchief. He's planning to take it back to Claude as a souvenir, isn't he? She had mixed feelings about that, but she couldn't exactly demand he return the mushroom to her, could she? All she could do was watch. Sir Gounod, you're a knight, aren't you? Why are you running around doing errand work like a squire? She asked.
Please, just call me Maurice. I am Claude's subordinate and also his personal bodyguard. As such, I am often entrusted with a variety of tasks.
So he's not just any knight, but a part of the royal guard. Wow, he's actually kind of an elite. All right then, Maurice. But what other kinds of tasks does he entrust you with? Delivering bouquets to young women jilted by the royals? Delivering mushrooms that sprout on his body to the mushroom pervert prince? But Agnes didn't really care who Maurice was or what he did.
We cannot have any uninformed parties involved. They might end up causing trouble over your mushroom powers. The prince also thought that perhaps you might feel more comfortable with me since we've already met on several occasions.
You're right. You already know about my powers. And I don't find you that scary anymore. But wait, the first time the prince sent you, you didn't know about my powers then, did you?
That was... well, I didn't. But I was just pleased to be entrusted with a task by His Highness. It's always an honor, you know.
Agnes still wasn't satisfied, but it looked like Maurice wasn't about to say anything further. At the very least, his hesitance to divulge what orders Claude gave him was proof that the prince trusted him highly.
Moving on. Could you let me know a suitable date for the dress fitting?
Oh, I'll arrange for a dress myself. Don't worry about it. The last thing Agnes wanted was another custom-made dress. It felt too awkward. But Maurice visibly blanched.
But I was given orders to make sure we had that handled on our end, to prevent you cancelling at the last minute, using lack of a dress as an excuse.
Fine. Maurice was thorough, and he didn't seem to trust her one bit. Or rather, he trusted her completely to try and find an excuse to get out of this arrangement. How desperate was Claude to see her mushrooms again anyway? With no other choice available, Agnes decided to submit to Maurice on the dress issue. Incidentally, Maurice, when should I return the ball gown I was given to wear the other day?
Oh, that was custom tailored for you, so there's no need to return it. Please do whatever you like with it.
Agnes suddenly lit up with delight. With material that expensive, I could make an amazing skirt. Now, at last, I finally have the chance to make enough money to get my commoner life off to a good start. Really? All right. I'll go ahead and cut it up then. Maurice blinked several times.
Cut it? Cut it up?
Yes, if I cut up the dress, I can make a skirt and various other accessories out of it to sell.
No, you mustn't do that. That would be blasphemy.
Maurice took a step forward in agitation. Agnes frowned. She didn't know what the big deal was, but she had her own situation to think about here. But I don't have any plans to ever wear it again, so what's the big deal?
You might wear it on another occasion.
Once the prince snaps out of his madness, I plan to resume my commoner life. So I'll have no use for such a fancy ball gown, and I can't exactly give a royally gifted dress away, can I?
No, think about it. Isn't it worse to chop up and sell off His Highness's gift to you?
Maybe Maurice is right. Maybe it is a bit crass. That was why Agnes hadn't cut the dress up yet. She wanted to run it by Maurice first, but it was clear she wasn't going to get his blessing. Well, can I gift it to someone else then?
No! It was a gift for you and you alone, Lady Agnes.
Fine, I'll wear it the next time I'm summoned then. You don't need to call in a seamstress.
Summoned? Never mind. But you can't wear the same dress again, and this new dress will be another present from His Highness. You can't turn it down.
Fine, I'll wear the new dress. But that'll mean I won't have any further use for the old one. It'll go to waste. I'm not allowed to give it away or sell it, right? Then I'll have to burn it when I become a commoner again. What a terrible waste! If I'm just going to burn it, why can't I turn it into a nice skirt and get some more wear out of it? Surely the dress itself would prefer a fate like that to being torched. Agnes gave Maurice an annoyed look. Just then, a little mushroom popped up on his arm. Pale red and unmistakably Mars Muse pulcheripes. Maurice just sighed, though, plucking the mushroom off.
Lady Agnes, why do you think His Highness has invited you to another ball?
For my mushrooms, mainly, she said flatly. No, absolutely for my mushrooms, and to help fix the royal family's image. Philip's on the fringes, yes, but he's still technically a royal. And he's caused a big scandal. Also, Claude is kind. I like to think he's doing this to help my image a little bit, too.
I can't deny the part about the mushrooms, but...
Maurice muttered, frowning as he carefully tucked the little Mars Muse pulcheripes into the handkerchief alongside the Foliota terrestris. Well, he's putting together a nice little bundle to take back to his master, isn't he? I feel like I'm gifting Claude against my wishes.
Look, may I speak frankly?
Maurice started.
Prince Claude is the fourth-born royal prince, but he's also the second in the line of succession for certain reasons. Philip's due to marry out of the royal family soon, after which he will cease to be their problem. So why would Prince Claude be running around trying to smooth things over for Philip? Prince Claude's currently the most eligible bachelor in the land. He has looks, money, status, and prospects. Everything a young woman could wish for. And yet he's refrained from frivolous affairs and scandals. He takes things seriously. He's not the type to publicly court a woman he has no interest in, much less have dresses designed for her or bouquets delivered to her.
Agnes mulled over all this for a few moments. Claude isn't concerned about Philip at all. And he's never behaved improperly with a girl despite his popularity? Oh, I get it. He wants to use me to keep the other women away, is that it?
Excuse me?
I noticed lots of ladies watching him like predators stalking prey at the ball. That constant attention must get quite tiring, and he could easily pass this whole affair off later as him just trying to smooth the feathers Philip ruffled. Still, odd choice to use someone as plain as me as a deterrent. But he gets mushrooms out of it, I guess. And with my detestable hair, I stand out, so I guess it works out in his favor after all. Agnes wore her hair down at the ball, out of a sense of rebellious freedom after being constrained so long by Philip. It worked quite well, though. Her hair would draw any crowd's disgust. Philip always told her to hide her hair to avoid standing out. Maybe he was right all along.
No, you're wrong. His Highness would never try to use you in that way. Although he'd gladly take your mushrooms if they were up for grabs. You know, most women would go crazy over the briefest eye contact from His Highness and immediately believe it meant they were destined to be together. Why doesn't he seem to have that sort of effect on you?
So you don't deny that he'd use me for my mushrooms, Agnes said dryly. Yes, the prince is handsome, but I'm not the type to jump to conclusions and lose my head over a man. Don't worry. Having been initially raised as a commoner before becoming a count's daughter, and with her striking hair and weird mushroom problem, Agnes was no ordinary young lady, that was for sure. Her family was kind and always complimented her appearance. But Agnes wasn't stupid enough to believe them. She'd absolutely nothing to offer Claude. She'd be nothing but a burden. You have to be completely full of yourself to look at a situation like this and call it fate. Besides, even though she'd nothing against Claude personally, she found his mushroom fetish disconcerting and alarming. She couldn't be any less swept off her feet. Getting all swoony over a guy who proposed not to me, but to my mushrooms? No. So why was Maurice looking so irritated and impatient with her? She'd no idea. Maybe he was hoping to see her in high spirits, actually excited over the prospect of a fling with Claude.
At any rate, please sit down with Prince Claude after the ball, and have him clarify the situation a little more.
If you say so. Agnes didn't really feel like talking with Claude, but how could she say no? Sulking, she gazed down at the bouquet of flowers she was clutching and sighed. If what Maurice was saying was true, then this whole thing actually wasn't a plan to help bolster Philip. Nor was Claude planning to use Agnes as a shield to keep away thirsty, marriage-minded women. So, that left only one explanation. It was her mushrooms the prince was after. Either way, though, Agnes stood to gain nothing from this arrangement. Absolutely nothing at all.